Today, for my 100th video, I'm going to compare this R1T to this R1S and score them both in these categories and give you my answer to which one is my favorite. Stick around. Hi everybody, welcome to the Rivian Dad channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks also to Stacy for helping out with the camera. Yeah, this is a special video today. If you haven't noticed, I've been adding a little number at the top of my logo for each video. And today, Rivian Dad turns 100. I'd say I look pretty good. So over the last year and a half, my family has had the ridiculous privilege of owning and driving two of the best vehicles on the road today, the Rivian R1T and the Rivian R1S. With almost 20,000 miles on one and 14,000 miles on the other, plus 99 videos, I think this gives me a very unique perspective, and I thought I'd take this milestone to answer a question you all might be thinking, which is also the #1 question that I get asked, which is, so which one do you like better? So I'm going to break it down into some basic categories and give each vehicle a score from 1 to 10 in each category. And I feel like these categories, even though they aren't really exhaustive, will give you a general feel of what it's like to own and drive the vehicle over a long period of time. And I do have a couple of complaints that I'll add in as we go. But first, please take a second and subscribe to the channel, smash that like button as the young folks like to say, and stick around to the end of the video where I'll give you mine and my wife's answer to this question. So let's do it. All right, starting with the obvious, the R1S we call Rosie, the R1T we call Rocky are very similar. The battery, the drivetrain, and the interior design are almost identical with the obvious difference of the form factor. You know, we have a truck and we have an SUV. Now, I love the design of both, as I've documented in all these 99 other videos. I love that the truck doesn't have that awful truck crack and that the R1S is a proper SUV. They're both up high off the ground and have, adjustable suspension. Overall, I just think they're well thought out design and fits very well to my lifestyle. So in this category, I'm going to start with a 10 for each, but I'm going to dock them each 1 point for two things. First of all, there's no glove box, which is a problem for a pack rat like me. And maybe it's because there's an airbag there, but other manufacturers have figured this out. So that's, to me, is a docked point. And second, no grab handle on the A-pillar, which is not fun for my passengers who are struggling to get in. I think this is a miss. Now I'm going to give back 1 point to the truck just because I think as a truck, it's a little bit more of an accomplishment to depart so much from the traditional design and yet still be so beautiful and useful. And honestly, the gear tunnel is such a unique and useful feature. It's hard not to give it a point just for that. Now on the inside, this is one of the places the Rivian R1S and the R1T really shine. The fit and finish is top rate, as has been well documented on the internet. It feels very luxury, and even after almost 2 years of driving Rocky and a year and a half in Rosie, the interior is holding up really well, minus a couple of wear points. I will say that the canvas back covers are a must in the R1S, and that having a top window shade in Rocky has made a huge difference, especially in the summer. Also, I tinted all of the windows, including both windshields, which I feel like is also a must. So anyway, 10s for both, no argument. Here is one of the few places they do differ just a bit. Rosie is a bit shorter, so it's easier to navigate around, parking lots and so on. But Rocky is just a little bit sturdier on the road. Each of them drives really, really well and are super comfortable and easy to drive both on and off-road. But particularly early on, when I started driving Rosie after having driven Rocky for a while, I noticed the difference quite a bit. And there's a lot of bumping. There was a lot of bumping at first. Now that has changed over time a little bit. Probably software updates have helped that a lot. and probably just my perception over time has gotten more used to driving Rosie, so it has evened out a little bit. And I will say they drive so similarly and they look so similarly from here forward. There have been a few times when I forgot which vehicle I was driving and had to check behind me or look at the color of the hood to make sure I knew which vehicle I was in. I do love driving Rocky on the road. It's just so stable. Both of them are great. Rocky gets the edge on this one. All right, talking about off-road. Now, Rosie and I have not spent much time on any trails together, a little bit, but not much. So I can't really compare them one-to-one in this category. But Rocky and I have been on lots of trails, which have been really fun and really great. I will say this in comparison. Whenever I decide to hit the trail, I prefer to bring Rocky for two really important reasons. First of all, the full-size spare tire is important. I just feel like it's so much safer to have a full-size spare off-road. Yeah, Rosie does have a spare, but the thought of having to inflate a tire on a trail is not a happy thought. It does work and it saves a lot of space, but it's really not ideal. And number two, I like to bring extra tools on the trails. Now, that's not to say that Rosie would be bad at this, but just that I'd rather bring extra tools than bring extra passengers when driving off-road. And those tools can be key in a safe return home. Yeah, there'd be room in the back of Rosie to hold the full-size spare and the tools, but it'd be dirty and I don't want to damage the inside. As a general off-roading vehicle, the Rivian is excellent. It's got all the torque and power you need in a very intuitive drive, including the regen braking, which helps a lot actually during off-road driving, especially on descents. Rosie has all that, plus a little bit better breakover angles, so I think she'd be great off-road as well. In fact, some people argue that she would be better than the truck. Now, I haven't had that experience just because I haven't driven Rosie off-road much. And since I haven't given Rosie a proper chance to prove me wrong on that one, I have to say no score on this one. I think they're going to both be great off-road. Side note, I don't like the Rivian OEM tires. The all-terrains are pretty good off-road, but do have a reputation of being a little thin on the walls. And the 22 sport tires are fine for summer driving, but on the ice, they are both not great. So this is one recommendation I give to everyone buying a new Rivian, especially in a winter wonderland like Colorado. Get some proper snow tires, makes a huge difference in the drive. Stay tuned for more on that in a future video. Okay, while we're waiting for our tacos here, I'm going to talk a little bit about the interface in both of these vehicles. We're in Rocky now. The interface between Rocky, the R1T, and Rosie, the R1S, pretty much exactly the same. Very minor differences that we really don't need to talk about in this particular video. Overall, it's very responsive, pretty thorough, and a very intuitive interface for the most part. There are glitches I'd like to fix. I think there's a lot more info that could be useful to the driver up here, like a clock, for example, and more info on the maps view. I do wish that I could get all the access to all the cameras at any given time. I wish that there was an entertainment option for the kids, but there isn't one, like they have in the Tesla. And the mapping is good, but it feels like it could be just a little bit better. So overall, I'm going to give the interface a little bit lower score than some of the other categories because I feel like this is a place where there's a little bit more room for improvement. I also realized that that's one of the beauties of having an electric vehicle is that those software items can improve over time. So that's actually a great thing. Okay, here are the tacos. Oh, thank you very much. All right, storage. Yes, you can pack a lot of stuff in each of these, including a whole bunch of stuff up here in the front, and even sleep pretty comfortably in the back of Rosie. One, even maybe two people because the seats fold all the way flat. But generally, here is one place the truck just wins out by an edge, and it's really just natural because it's a truck with a truck bed. You can get it dirty or leave stuff in there without it being in your space. And of course, as I mentioned, the gear tunnel is a huge win. It's such a great in-between space that it's not dirty like the bed, so I'm comfortable putting groceries in there, but also tough enough to put some dirty or wet things in there without really blinking an eye. And I need to mention the rack system on both is super convenient and handy, but overall, Rocky wins this round. Now for the last category, I just want to talk about road trips. I've been in both vehicles for multi-day road trips. They both drive really well long distance. Of course, you have to stop a lot for charging, more than other EVs, but both vehicles have a good long range. And as I mentioned, Rocky is just a little more comfortable for the driver. But right off the bat, for passengers, we have a huge advantage when traveling with a family in Rosie, thanks to that really useful third row. Even with only 3 passengers, like myself and my 2 kids, it's nice to have the extra space for the kids to spread out. On the other hand, Rocky can hold a lot more stuff like luggage and other gear, so you don't have to have it in your space when you're driving a long ways. But I gotta give this round to Rosie. She is a great road tripper. All right, here it is. Which one do you like best? Gotta give it to Rocky, just by an edge. Yo, Adrian! I did it! Maybe it's because he's been with me longer and I do love this creamy white color, but I think really it's all about the use case. See, I do a lot of projects and I love having a truck, just full stop. But that said, whenever we go out as a family, even around town, we always just take Rosie. She's a little more comfortable and we can fit in 7 passengers without blinking an eye. And no question that she's a better road tripper for a family. But at the end of the day, I just have so many truck things, including hitting the trails, that my vote has to go to Rocky. But Rosie, I still love you. For an adventure, I guess I can say it this way, sort of depends on if you prefer taking the gear to the people or taking the people to the gear. If your family likes to road trip more often than you have construction projects, you're gonna want the R1S. Or if you're often building stuff and carrying around crap or on lots of sport adventures with bikes or lots of ski gear, you're gonna be happier with the truck. And I will say, very importantly, that my wife would pick the R1S if she was asked the same question. Probably because it's a little bit smaller and easier to get around town, and certainly because of the passenger space. So I know these results aren't really a surprise, but on the one hand, this kind of tells you that both of these vehicles have hit really high marks, and it really boils down to your use case. Well, thank you all for being with me for 100 videos and for all your great feedback and kind words. Thanks also to Stacy for helping out. I hope these videos have been fun and informative. I know it has been for me. So please leave a comment and join me for more on this adventure. See ya.